This is live on YouTube, on my Facebook page, and in the Facebook group so far.
I see.
Um, Here we are. Surprise, surprise. Well, Mark is there too, and I'm Maximus, and this is the social experiment. We are currently getting ourselves started up, but we wanted to jump on here. I'm sharing this link around right now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send you the link to your messenger so that you can see it.
I
You
sh-
know.
I shared it in my
Oh, you
group.
found it already?
Yeah, I got it from your page and I just shared it.
Okay, that works.
So
That was exactly what I was gonna do. Just give it to you.
I hope it shares. It wasn't public. It was just friends only. So hopefully it shared.
Oh shit. That means I gotta change it.
Yeah.
That's all right. I hate when the you know what I hate is
What's
I
up?
set it all for public viewing.
Yeah.
It even says it when I'm setting it up, and
Yeah.
then it still goes to friends only when I almost all my posts
Yeah.
are.
Change it. I'm gonna share it again because I'm pretty sure it's gonna say this link is unavailable if I when I put it in the group.
Give me 1 second because I'm changing the privacy now.
Yeah.
Boom. Now it's public. Anyone on Facebook? Blah, blah,
Yeah. So let me do this again.
blah. Yep.
My face is gonna disappear for a little bit. Let me refresh this page and see what it says now. Yep, there we go. Yeah, baby. We public.
There we go.
I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put it right here. And
Hello to my peoples. I'm up here in my man cave and shit, ready to get this shit cracking.
yeah,
How everybody been doing? It's been a long time since I've been up on this one. So we gonna cook tonight, so I hope people's ready.
yeah. Let me come back in here, man, so they can see my face. Let me re-enter the screen, man. It's been a minute
Yep.
since I've been
Been
on.
a
I'm coming fresh off hiatus, so new show coming out soon with the goddess and myself called Living and Loving, or is it Loving and Living? but
when he gets the official thing down, we gonna share it around because we share each other's stuff. So
yes,
you know what I'm saying. We gonna put it out there. We probably do a collab with them. What you say?
I said we might end up calling it Venus versus Mars while we at it. Shit.
Hey, might shit. You can take it.
Yeah.
Cause this is gonna be a heavy topic. We got a lady about to join in a second. Just waiting for her to find the link and click it so she can join it, and then we can get started.
Yeah, in the meantime, I mean, we can give people a little bit context on what the live is about. If you want to do that, or you want me to do that, it's really up to you, brother. And first and foremost, let me
Hey,
appreciate you having me on. How about that? Let's start off with that, man.
hey, man, you had me on once upon a time, a long time ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And um, it's just about we both have done this thing before, have both spoken in forums, different forums, plenty long time done that. So this is one of those things where this is just a no brainer to do. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah,
And right now we talking about the Venus versus Mars thing because what's happening is there's a lot of battle of the sexes on social media. And a lot of it we find to be unnecessary. Up here's the other person now. Here she comes. Hey there, Carnita. How you doing?
Good evening, everybody. I'm good. How are you?
Good
good.
evening. I am your host, Maximus. My regular co-host is under the weather, so she couldn't necessarily pull up, but she sends her love. She'll probably still peek in, but her voice wasn't good for talking on there right now. So anyway, here we are. I wanted to get a lady's perspective, which is why I had to borrow the Carnita, which she needs to keep herself in the studio so she doesn't get lost. You know what I'm saying? because I want some answers, and I'm gonna let Mark. Mark has a lot of passion on this topic, so Mark, open us up with your first observation. I'm sure Carnita sees plenty of shit too,
Yeah,
and she'll have plenty
probably
of
so.
intelligent things to say about this, and I'll give him my 2 cents as I do on a regular basis.
Of
Well,
course.
to kind of piggyback off what you're saying, it seems to be a war of the sexes going on, particularly on social media. But I know social media a lot of times is a reflection of the things that some of us are dealing with in real life, and for
Mm-hmm.
people, it's a place to escape. And I think that's a lot of our fantasy selves to live. You know, everybody's bigger and grander on social media, so to speak, right? So
Right.
So I guess some of the stories may be a little bit exaggerated, and the frustrations as well too.
Right.
Hmm.
Um, but I had this conversation actually several times today. I had this conversation with three different, actually four different individuals, two women and two men,
Hmm.
and it seems as if like there's a war going on, you know. And I'm more concerned with our people, meaning our melanated people. There seems to
Mm-hmm.
a war going on between you know black men and black women, and I
Right.
think it's important for us to understand um where where it's coming from, where's it rooted, and
Mm-hmm.
instead of us pointing the fingers at each other, which is what we often see on social media,
Right.
um we need to be fixing the issue. And I had an analogy with the sister I was talking to probably about an hour ago. I was speaking with her on the phone. We were conversing, and I said to her, you know, if four of us are on the boat and then one person falls off the boat, right? Are we gonna bicker?
Mm-hmm.
Are we gonna bicker about whose fault it is that one particular person fell off the boat and they're busy drowning? Are we not just gonna save that person, pull them out of the water, right? Then we'll figure out what happened. And she was like, yeah. I said, well, this is what's going on. You know, women are saying um, men may be insensitive or men may be cheaters, and men are saying women don't listen and women are not submissive. And we're having this back and forth, right? But we
Mm-hmm.
understand um, where is it coming from? Where's it rooted in? So I think
Right.
that's pretty much what tonight's conversation is going to be based on. And I'm glad that we have a little diversity here on the panel so we can kind of dive into it, you know? So
Yeah.
that's my pretext to what I need to say in reference to it in the meantime.
Okay. Makes sense.
Carnita, you got a little piece of the rock you want to throw in here before I start cooking?
Well, yeah, I've definitely heard or seen the discourse on social media about, it does seem like it's a battle between the sexes, which it shouldn't be. It's like we're all, like you said, in the same boat together. But I think a lot of it stems from frustration, unmet needs, expectations is a big thing because people go
Mm-hmm.
into things with their expectation of how it's going to be, and that might not necessarily be what the other person expects from the situation. So
Right.
then you bump heads. When you're both expecting or needing different things from one
Mm-hmm.
situation. So I think that's a big factor in it. Also,
Mm-hmm.
um, honestly, I had this conversation with somebody a couple of days ago. I think nowadays it's harder to really get to know who people are. We can see who they present themselves to be on social media, but that might or might not necessarily be who they really are. And I think
Mm-hmm.
as we get older, it's not as easy to get to know people for, and see them and be around them because one majority of the time we don't spend that much time in that person's presence or in proximity of people anymore because I feel
Right.
like people are very isolated. The pandemic didn't help. Um, and I feel like you don't organically get to know people. You only get to know a persona a lot of times.
Right.
So that's my feeling about it.
That's fair. I also feel social skills are at an all-time low. Piggybacking off of what you said,
Yeah.
social skills are completely at an all-time low. I will tell
Mhm.
you this, and I know Mark could attest to this too. You'll see people online; they are bubbly as fuck. Then you meet them at a social gathering, and they are the most socially awkward person in the room. They're sitting. I'm like, yo, that's such and such. And they're just sitting in a corner. They look like they don't
Well,
even know how to tie their own
right.
shoes.
And that
You
really ties
understand what
into
I'm
what I was
saying?
saying about, you see their persona online and then you be around them in proximity of them for real. And you're like, are you the same person?
Right. And it's hard to believe that they're the same fucking person. Like you're looking at them like, fam, is this really the same person that I met
Right.
at such and such time?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like it's very hard to believe that I met this person online and they was all popping and they was lit. Then I get in front of them and they scared as hell. Like they be looking at me like I'ma just step on them. I didn't
Yeah.
realize you were so big. Do I look like I'm small?
You know, the camera,
No.
the camera can fool them sometimes, bro. Because like
You
right now,
know,
Well,
on
it's not
camera,
even just
like,
about how they look, though. It's just their personalities can, like,
yeah.
people put on a cape online and they're Superman or Superwoman, and then in real life they're not that secure.
But
You
let's
know.
let's swing back on topic here.
yeah,
Now we have a situation where, and I say this all the time, where nobody ever takes accountability. And I know Carnita knows this, and she's about to roll her eyes because we've had that talk before.
Here we
Nobody
go.
ever takes accountability because everybody's always busy pointing the finger. The woman's always talking
Right.
about what the man's supposed to do. The man always talking about what the woman's supposed to do. And in the meantime, ain't nobody fucking hearing anybody because we all busy pointing fingers at somebody else. And that's where it all starts to go wrong. Is you got women trying to tell men how to be men, and men trying to tell women how to be women. And the real translation of that should be no. This is how, if you want to engage with a man, how you as a lady should approach me, and vice versa. If I want to approach you, a lady, as a man, this is how I should approach you. Because sometimes not what you say is how you say it.
Mhm.
And the problem is people are not saying it with that type of verbiage. So what happens is you get this clash because everybody's fucking sensitive. Then
Well,
you get
people
all
get
these ignorant
defensive
posts.
when you jump on them. They get defensive. Everybody's in defense mode right now. So,
well,
you
let
know.
me interject for a second.
Hmm.
I think that a lot of people don't do well with criticism or
Mhm.
constructive criticism. You know, it's a difference. And even with constructive
Huh.
criticism, like you just said, Carnita, a lot of people become defensive. But
Hmm.
I think part of the solve for the problem is we have to get back to the individual, right?
Mhm.
And individual teachings. So we're not teaching our daughters how to pick husbands, and we're not teaching our sons how to pick wives. See,
Mhm.
because back in the days, more or less in the village setting, they want to know what family you come from. They want to know what stock you come from. The parents might say, hey, listen, well, we're not going to marry into this family, or you're not going to date into this family because we knew
Hmm.
that certain family carry different traits.
Right.
So as we integrate into bigger cities, you don't know who's who. So in order to help circumvent that, you have to be able to teach your children how to pick mates. And a lot of times people get caught up in the fantasy, the infatuation of another person, and then all those values that they look for in the mate goes out the window because somebody's busy thirst trapping, posting a selfie, or another dude is over there taking a picture in front of somebody's car at the parking lot trying to um
front, front,
front.
floss.
Yeah, trying to front, magnify that fake persona, and then you're attracting people based on lies. You understand what I'm saying? So one of the
Hmm.
small
Mhm.
lie, you got to tell another lie to get into a bigger lie, and before you know it, you in a shitstorm of situation where everything is based on fabrication. It's not even real. You don't even know who the fuck you dealing with or who you're dating.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of the issue. So to kind of fix it, because we always complain about what the problem is, here's what my suggestion is. I would say get back to the individual. Like you have to have prerequisites of what you're going to accept from a man and what you're going to accept from a woman when you're courting someone in a relationship. Transparency, ladies, learn how to look for those red flags. I don't give a fuck what's coming out of his mouth. Actions,
Mm-hmm.
them words. Look
Yeah.
for those flags. I don't care how pretty the motherfucker is, how tall, how short, how whatever it is about him that attracts you. If
Mm-hmm.
if his actions are not matching the words that's coming out of his mouth, 86 his ass as soon as
Mm-hmm.
possible. Same thing with
As
the fellas
soon
as
as
well too.
possible.
Same thing. Know what it
Mhm.
is that you're looking for. Know yourself, and then you build on that individual prerequisite for yourself, and then you
Mm-hmm.
teach and surround yourself with people that share those same type of morals and standards. Then you create a culture. Then that culture grows into to something larger. But we have to start somewhere. You understand?
Mhm.
Because everyone is not safe faced with these problems. You know, you have very successful marriages and people that's in happy relationships that choose not to get married or whatever it is, you know, that's working for them. So that's what I
Right.
Mm-hmm.
think. You should start with the individual and then surround yourself with a like-minded people and build from there.
Right. And I
Well,
agree.
well, there's the first touch.
Mhm.
You see, you said a very key word there, like-minded. People don't even know themselves to recognize the like-mindedness of other
Mhm.
people around them.
Right.
So if you don't know yourself, you can't recognize who your tribe is. And like me and Mark are people who have spent a long time in a very niche community. You understand what I'm saying? In that
Mhm.
community, there are everybody's their own tribes. You understand what I'm saying? And the only way that you have a good experience is to find your tribe that you vibe with. And
Mhm.
that just in that microcosm works out so well. But
Right.
when you expand that into the greater world, see, it's easy to
You gotta
do
do
it.
the same thing.
It's easier to do in a smaller scope, like the one I just used as an example of a social setting where
Mhm.
you can find your tribe, your like minded people, and so on and so forth. In the grand scheme of the world, there's so many different directions to go in. If you think about it like this, when you're hungry, all the food looks good, smells good.
Right.
So if you're hungry for a connection, a lot of things is going to look good. You're not going to know which way to go. And because you haven't come into your own with yourself, you're not going to know what to do with somebody else. And
Right.
that's where the problem starts.
It is. It's the same example as they say, don't go to the grocery store hungry because you pick up all kind of crap that you shouldn't be picking up.
Right.
Same
And we
thing.
all do it.
Same thing.
We all do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw a video clip a friend of mine's posted today, and it was this sister, and she was she was emotional to the point where it was scary for me as a man listening to what she was saying,
Hmm.
watching her body language. And the gist of the message was that, and trust me, she was in tears. When I say emotional, she was emotional. And
Mhm.
she was saying, don't come to me wasting my time if you're just
Mhm.
going to leave me. And she went on and on and on and on and on.
I've seen that. Yeah,
You've
I've
seen that.
seen that.
Okay. And it was another sister there, just watching and listening.
Mhm.
And my first initial reaction when I saw it was like, I wouldn't go 100 feet near that sister
Hmm.
because I saw the trauma. And a lot of times,
Right. And she hasn't dealt with that.
thank you,
Yeah.
sis, thank
She
you.
has not dealt
So
with that.
a
She
lot
has
of
abandonment issues that
right,
stem from before the relationships,
right,
and she hasn't dealt with that.
right.
So she's pressing those issues onto somebody else, and
Yes.
she's
Hold
probably
on.
overly needy and everything else.
Hold
So
on. I'm going to say something because I'm reading the comments.
Yeah.
Isaiah, I see you. In your comments, some of them are somewhat funny. But what we don't do here is we don't shame people's mental shortcomings. We'll laugh at it and make fun of it, but we don't want to call somebody a nutball per se, only because trauma is a very real thing. Trust me, I've sat down and talked with many people, and anybody that doesn't know, I counsel people. So I literally have sat and heard all types of other people's stories.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the thing is, not addressing your trauma, because a lot of men, and this is something I was talking with Carnita about this before, a lot of men have a lot of trauma because we normally don't have an outlet.
Or you
We're
don't
the biggest
find an
nutballs, if you
outlet.
want to say,
Yeah.
in the jar. Because at least with women, a lot of times they could go confide in their girlfriends.
Mhm.
They can go confide, and if they cry and they show
Church.
emotion, it's
It's
okay.
seen as okay. Yeah.
But if us men do that,
You're just being
it's
weak.
considered weak.
Yeah,
And
man up.
that's
Oh, you
and
soft,
that
man up.
that
You know what I'm
that is
saying?
a
Like,
that is a trauma response in itself. The fact that you were told when you were young, because you were boys, you weren't supposed to express anything but the negative emotions of humankind, and
Yeah.
anything else, sadness, overly happy, excited, all that is seen as soft, and
hmm
that's a trauma response.
and there's
But
no such
how
thing as
you deal
softness.
with
Go
it is
ahead,
key.
Mark. Sorry.
Mhm.
Um, just to add on to what Carnita was saying, like I grew up in Brooklyn, in the hood in Brooklyn, and
Mhm.
you dare not walk outside and smile in the hood. They gonna think you soft. You might not come back home with your Jordans on. You get my point?
It's true.
So
I grew up in Brownsville, so I know.
But
doing that.
see that mentality gets handed down, that it's like you can't break free of that. It's
Yeah,
like
it's a
little
survival.
boys get handed that from the time they're little, and it's hard to break free of that until you gotta.
Well, it's a survival mechanism based
It is.
on your surroundings, based on your environment. You know,
Right.
years later, when I moved to the country in PA, and my Amish neighbors came by, you know, bringing me sweets and stuff like that for my kids, and was
hmm
smiling. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with them? Why they smiling at me? Yo?
hmm
Which way? You
Yeah, it's
You're
strange when you first
suspicious.
experience that. Because you looking at them like, what are they up to? What's their
yeah.
story?
Why these
Yeah,
motherfuckers so friendly? Coming from a place like New
hmm
York, you know, you have to wear that exterior,
mask.
that mask. But
hmm
back to the video clip I saw with the sister. I
Mhm.
hmm
saw her trauma, and like you said, Carnita, you hit the nail on the head. And there was another sister in there just defending her to the T, my home girl. And I was
hmm
just trying to explain to her that, listen, what you're doing right now is trauma bonding, because you had a similar experience, so you can relate to her experience. But that
Mhm.
doesn't make it right. I would want
Right.
to take that sister to save my life. She might ruin my life because she
Well,
hasn't dealt with
and
trauma.
the thing is, she's not in a position to date anybody. She
And
needs
and
to
and,
deal with herself.
and that was the point. And that was the point that that I was trying to make, is that a lot of times, and I just don't want to nitpick, you know, on the women, because the men do it too.
Yeah.
A lot of
Hey, I
times,
mentioned the men already, so you can pick on the women. Go
a,
ahead.
a lot of times, okay, so a lot of times, sisters come into a relationship with unhealed trauma. It's not my job as a man to heal you. You have to
Mm-mm.
heal yourself.
Right.
You're supposed to come into a relationship with a clean slate, right? I was
hmm
my people's Isaiah earlier, who was just in the feed, and he said the same thing. I'm supposed to come into the situation with a clean slate, and then we
hmm
build together from that clean slate. Now, if we have trials and tribulations in the relationship, which all relationships do, it is a ship
Mhm.
after all. It is
Right.
up to us to sit back as emotionally mature adults and fix whatever little leaks we may have in that ship. Not
Right.
say that, oh, all men ain't shit, so I'm just abandoning ship because you had a past experience with someone else. Everybody
hmm
experience is different, you know.
Right.
So why come into an experience with with already a negative, what's the word I'm looking for? A negative undertone that you're gonna project
Uh-huh.
new person, and that relationship is doomed for failure. And a lot of
Right.
times sisters don't look at that. The first thing is, like the words you used earlier, Max, lack accountability. You
Right.
understand?
Can I
So
add to that though?
sure.
Just
After
like,
after you speak, Cornita, I want to jump on to something, but go ahead.
okay. No, I'm just saying, like how you said, come into a relationship with a clean slate. And another problem is, and this is the same thing as coming in with other kind of emotional baggage. If you come into the relationship experience with an expectation of what you're going to get from it,
Hmm.
you're already not starting at ground zero, because you're coming in thinking, this is what I want from you, not what this is what I can bring to this.
I'm
And a
glad.
lot of times guys will come in and say, well, I expect, because I'm the guy, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do this. That's not coming in with a clean slate. You're coming in with
Hmm.
expectations of something you want from me. So
And,
that's not a
and
clean
and
slate.
a lot of times too, to add on real quick, Max, I know you want to jump in. You
Hmm.
know, people and create those. They dangle the expectation as a lure to actually get you to want to
And
be
that's
more
an issue too.
coveted. Well, look at this, look at
Yep.
this, look at this, look at this nice car. You know, look at this whatever it is
Uh-huh.
that they're trying to lure you with.
They
Um,
baiting.
they're baiting you, the
Mm-hmm.
thirst traps, whatever it
Yeah.
may be, to
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, well, you know what? When I see those things, when I see grown ass women twerking online, and when I say grown, I mean women
Oh,
30
Grown,
plus.
grown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
just grown.
30 plus. If you
Mm-hmm.
online twerking and participating in certain behaviors as a mature male, it's an instant turn off for me. Instantly.
Mm-hmm.
My bad,
Yeah.
Max.
No, that's fine. You had to finish that thought. That's what this is all about. This is a dialogue. But listen, I want to address two comments real quick. So first, just to react to um talking about the trauma, you got Jocelyn here that says a man should not trigger any trauma that she's healed from. Now, first to address that, because I also want to address Isaiah's comment too, because he had a great reply to that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna throw that one up too, because those both kind of go together.
Oh yeah,
And
we can't
then
see the
hit,
comments. They come up.
I'm reading. You can can y'all see them?
We can see the ones you're putting up, but I'm talking about as they come up live, we can't see them.
I can
Oh no,
see
don't
them.
worry
I
about
go
it.
over to the
That's why
comments.
I'm reading them out,
Okay, awesome.
because for some reason it's not showing, and I tried to set that, but this thing, imperfect technology. And then um Isaiah came back with communication is key. How's he supposed to know he's triggering the trauma if she doesn't let him know what she's been through? And see, the reason why I wanted to put both of those together, because that's exactly some of the seesaw back and forth battle of the sexes bullshit that happens all the time. It's the
Mm-hmm.
ultimate catch 22. It's like you don't want to trigger them, but how are you supposed to know the trigger if they never tell you the trigger? Because some people don't even tell you when they feel a way about something. Instead, they go and retreat into themselves, or they go and do other things, or they act out. And I'm the kind of motherfucker, if you act out on me, I'm not even listening to you.
Right.
So a lot of people function that way, where it's
Hmm.
Right.
like you can say all the crazy stuff you want to scream, you want to yell, you want to wild out, whatever the case may be, that's cool. But understand, I'm not listening.
Right.
And it's just nobody listens when we yell. And the whole thing is to start off from this. See, Jocelyn, you have to learn, and I'm not saying you, but anybody that would ask that question or expect the man not to trigger their trauma that she's healed from, it's almost impossible because human beings make mistakes. Sometimes you inadvertently will step on a trigger. The first thing you got to do is learn to get help so you can start to heal so that trigger can be more manageable. It's like me. I fought in tournaments like years ago. It might not look at it because I got a pretty face, but I did a lot of fighting. I have a reflex where if you creep up behind me, my first instinct is to take you down or knock you the fuck out. And that's just the automatic. It's such an automatic reflex. This woman was 2 feet behind me when I was getting into my car today, and I almost dropped her because I just turned around. I felt her behind me, and I looked, and I had to freeze. And literally, we just made eye contact for like 30 seconds is a long time to just stare at each other and not say nothing. And it wasn't because I was wowed by her look or nothing like that, because I didn't give a fuck about that. It's because you were a body that was behind me without announcing yourself, and you were playing me way too close when I was getting in my car.
Hmm.
Granted,
But you
she was
know,
just, but the thing is, I learned to manage my trigger, is the point. I trained my mind, I worked through it so that I can function in society and deal with people who are not doing anything to me and know to be able to look before I leap. It
hmm,
is your responsibility as an adult
hmm,
to learn to manage your own triggers, not go and expect this man to have to carry you through something. Oh, you was with some dude, and because and Mark's a man, he's been through this. I know you've been through this. I know you probably got something too, because I'm gonna shut up after this. How many times have you heard a story of, oh, my ex used to do this same thing and such, and now here you are doing it, and you just sit there and look like, but we're both men. We're gonna have certain things in common. We both stand up when we pee too. What's the difference? What's the problem? Like,
uh-huh.
you can't carry your baggage over and expect me to throw it on my back. And then if I don't, I'm the bad guy for that. You got to manage that luggage
Right.
yourself and learn to put that shit in the fucking storage.
Well, I think that has a lot to do with on top of what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
People can't you can't control other people. You can't control what they do, what they say. You can only
Mm-hmm.
control yourself and how you react to it. So if somebody is doing something that triggers you from something you supposedly healed from, then you really haven't healed from it because you haven't learned how to control your reaction to something.
Ah,
Especially when you don't have enough information to say this is what that person did. You're just
Mm-hmm.
thinking, well, this is I saw this before, it was this, so it's probably this, but you don't have the information. You're reacting to something previous without adequate information. So you haven't learned to control that trigger if you're still reacting to it with just on a whim, just because it appears to be something else. That's not control.
hmm. You dropped the jewel right there, sis.
Mm-hmm.
No, seriously. What, especially with the part where, with the healing part, you
Yeah.
really haven't healed from it,
Mm-mm.
right?
Not if you're triggered again. It's like, well, somebody did something similar to what somebody else did, then you're not healed from it because you
Well,
haven't learned to control your reaction in that type of situation.
the thing for me too that struck a chord with what Max said was, when we start comparing someone, and I call that one in the, this is these are signs that you look for sometimes, that can show themselves right there, rear their heads, right past the honeymoon phase in the relationship, or
Mm-hmm.
sometimes even when you're getting to know someone, you can look for these little things. When they start to, um reduce who you are by demonizing you and comparing you to negative attributes from past relationships.
Yeah, they
Mm-hmm.
need more healing time
They
alone.
they do, because that is also a form of abuse. It's a form of verbal abuse, because
And it
now,
can be even emotional abuse too.
and it can be, because
Mhm.
what you will find is that if you continue to be in that relationship, then you become that picture in their mind that they're painting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is where we get the cliche: all men are the same.
Yeah, because if you paint the picture of it always being the same, it will be.
You
Absolutely,
know.
our thoughts are reality. So, I say that
Mm-hmm.
to say this: before, and this is one of the oldest tricks in the book. I mean, going back, organized, governments and empires and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Before, one country or one empire decides to invade the other, to infringe upon the other, they have to convince their republic that those people, they have to dehumanize them, that they're bad, they're this, they're devil worshippers, they're this, they're that, modern language terrorists, whatever you want to call them. You want to make them seem less than being human before you can implement all these unhumanly, whatever you're going to do to them. You understand what I'm saying? You get the point of what I'm getting to here. I want to devalue you to make you seem less human, so I can do all these ungodly things to you.
Slavery.
Yeah, slavery. Definitely.
Let's not walk down that path, because I have too much to say on that.
And even but the point that I'm making is that it happens in relationships as well too, and it happens with the men. You know, when you start calling her out her name, right?
Yeah.
Start calling out her name. You start calling her these bitches, these hoes, these this, that. And you know, it gradually starts. The abuse gradually starts somewhere, and the longer that person stays in that situation, male or female, the worse it gets, because they don't start off just disrespecting you,
right?
But once you tolerate a little bit of it, it becomes more and more and more.
It doesn't even have to be name calling. It could just be you become harsh with your tone, and that right there is going to cause dis-ease in the other person. Like if you can't talk, the way you talk to a person is very harsh, and how you respond to them is very harsh, then that's the picture of yourself you're going to paint in that person's eyes.
So, guys, I have a theory, right? So bear with me. I have a theory about the African experience in the
diaspora.
Yes, as a relation to men and women, because it's different. It's different. It's relationships are different with us. Is for those coming from an African perspective, those coming from a West Indian perspective, those coming from the North American perspective. And here's my theory, because it is well documented that the black man is the most disrespected man on this planet, not only by his fellow men, also by his women, but more so particularly in North America, because it's a little different in the Caribbean. It's a little bit different in different African nations. And here's my theory. So I want to know what y'all think about this. I think part of the reason why black men in America are so disrespected, particularly by their women, is because we lost the war in colonialism, and a man's main purpose is to protect his family. And the fact that we failed at protecting our women, because women are drawn to power. The fact that we failed to protect our women when these invaders came and they were forced all these horrific experiences, some of the respect for us as men went out the window, because they had to digress and look to the man who conquered us. What do you guys think about that?
Well, have you seen the movie The Woman King?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I haven't seen it yet. Don't
so
spoil
on
it.
top of what you're saying, on top of what you're saying, that goes way back. It's like there were African nations that bought into the idea of we're going to gain power and money and stuff from the Europeans by selling our own people.
Right.
Now, there you go. It's like they sold us out, men and women. They sold us out to gain the European standard of, wealth, trying to assimilate into that culture. It still happens even today. So if you want to assimilate into their culture and you're willing to sell us out, your own people, to get to top of where they are, so you can act like them and be like them, then you basically gave away your self-respect. And then you want other people to respect you when you've given away yourself. You're giving yourself away.
Well said.
And then you're wanting respect from us. It's like, how are you asking me for something you're not giving yourself? Right. It's like love. If you don't have love inside, you can't give it away. You can't give away what you don't already own. Right. And you have to have self-respect. And that's how you get respect. You don't get it by commanding somebody. that
Mhm.
won't work.
Right.
Because that's either going to be fear or it's going to be resentment. It's not going to be love and it's not going to be respect.
And you know what? Here's my thing, right?
Hmm.
I was just smiling as I was listening to y'all because y'all was nailing it. I almost really didn't even have nothing to say after y'all smashed it like that. You know what I'm
You didn't
saying?
have anything to
I
say.
know me not having something to say is amazing.
We rendered
So,
Max speechless.
so here's the thing. If you think about it and you bring that into modern day,
Hmm.
think about every time, and this is us men too. Every time a woman's checking us out, she look at what we got. It's basically all about your dick and your wallet as a man. Those are the two things that the majority of women are focused on. You ain't gotta be the flyest dude. You ain't gotta be the most, you ain't gotta be the most famous dude or whatever the case may be. All you need to be is have dick and wallet, and 9 times out of 10, your dating situations is not going to be a very lonely
But you know
situation at
where that
all.
comes from. You told us that's what's important to you
I
by the
was good.
way
I was
you
getting
move
there.
through life.
I was getting there.
So
But you
we're
hit it on
judging
the
you by
head.
what you're giving us. You're
No, but
telling us
see,
this what's important. So
no, but see, this is
that's where they go.
but see, that's the problem. Is a
I
lot of
know.
times, I've said this several times. Men hold the gates to relationships. When it comes to dating, women hold the gate to being entered into their life at all. Once the woman lets them in, the progression of the relationship is now on the man. He sets the tone for that. The problem is where the disconnect comes, is men need to learn to stop presenting themselves
Well,
like
there's two
an
things.
a like I'm gonna use a little bit of a slur here, but I'm not
Hmm.
gonna use the slur. But basically, I'm
Okay.
gonna say a Negro on the auction table,
There,
because a
there
lot
you
of
go.
times that's what men do. They walk, they got the jewels on, they pulling up in a whip that they know they rented because they can't afford to buy it, and they faking it till they make it, and that's cool. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? But my whole thing is you got to understand, you're now telling this woman, look at this. This is what I got. A lot of men don't even know how to lead. The only thing they know how to do is spend money. If you put them in a situation where they actually have to lead the situation,
No.
and it requires this and this and this don't matter, they are stuck and have no idea what to do. I've literally
Hmm.
seen this happen with men multiple times. They don't even know how to deal with women. All you know how to do is go in their wallet and say, okay, how much does that cost?
Hmm.
And when you set that trend, it's human nature to take the easiest path to anything. If you're going to give women an opportunity, because a lot of women are lazy. Don't take this personal. A lot of
Well,
women are lazy.
I think
Biologically,
people are
no.
lazy.
Biologically, because y'all don't have testosterone, y'all, and I actually learned this recently. Because y'all don't have testosterone, that's why y'all require more sleep than we do in nature. So
I
when
mean,
I
if
say lazy, I mean
they do have testosterone, they just have less of it.
no.
Less of
They
it.
have their testosterone is virtually at zero until they're having their period, which is when it goes up. That's why they get more aggressive during the times where they're going through their
But
cycle, because their
going
testosterone
back to what
increases
you
to heat it
said
up.
about money and sex, if
Yeah,
whatever you put on the hook, that's the fish you're going to catch.
but
So
that's
if
my point.
that's what you're leading with, and don't get mad.
But
I hate it when guys say, "Oh, she's a gold digger." Well, what were you catching her with? What kind of woman you were saying that's the fish you wanted when you led
hmm
with that?
Yeah, but here's why I disagree though. Here's why I disagree.
uh-huh.
Um, we're all individuals,
Hmm.
and you're gonna have some women who have gold digging tendencies because that's their upbringing, or that's what they've been taught at
Their
some.
mama and their grandmama taught them
That's what they
that.
were taught that you guys present. So they
Not
said,
necessarily
get it as much as you can if you're gonna get it. That's what
because
they've been taught.
the onus can't always fall back on the man. You got to understand something, and I'm going to take a quote from you, right?
Hmm.
We were exposed to European culture,
Right.
and their standards. So if the European monetary system is based on currency and being able to survive based on you earning currency, and a woman knows that, a man knows that you need to earn some type of income, and
Mm-hmm.
she finds that because maybe her social economical situation dictates that I have this idiot guy right here who's just flashing this cash. I'm out outsmart him to get the money from him. If that's the mindset, then most likely she gonna end up in a strip club,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Some of them
and
do.
she's gonna go to the strip club because, and there's certain type of men that go to strip clubs,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you also have women that knows that I'm gonna look for a certain quality in a man. I'm gonna build with that man. We're gonna build together, and we're gonna supersede way more than what I can try to get on the instant gratification. So it's
Right.
all based on our teachings, our upbringings, and what we choose to gravitate to.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
And see, I'm gonna swing it to the woman's side because there's a woman's side to this story too. And I'm gonna say this, ladies, if you, because you know the problem I hear too, a lot of ladies talk about how all of these men just hit them up. What are you doing? What are you doing? What's good? Blah 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 blah. Or they just sending them a dick pic or whatever the case may be at random. Let me
Bullshit.
tell you something. Men do not do things that don't at least work sometimes. Because men are very logical in their actions. Even the ones that look stupid, they really thought that shit out and thought that might work. And the fact of the matter is that that shit works sometimes.
Mhm.
And the thing is, this is where the accountability as a woman or as ladies, if y'all in society in general want your men to operate at a higher caliber, you are the ones that set the bar for how these men are going to respond to you.
Mm-hmm.
We can
So if
only set the
you
bar on how we respond to them. We can't. We're not
no, but
responsible
we
for
no, but we
behavior
approach you.
modification.
9 times out of 10, we are the ones approaching you. So
Right.
you have to say this is this is the barrier of entry if you want to approach me. You
Right.
can't have you saying, "Oh, this is the barrier entry up here," but all your girlfriends is down here.
But
Except, pardon me, I'm trying to
every
line up in the camera. But all your
everybody's
friends is down
standards aren't the
here,
same.
accepting dick pics and goofball shit and hanging out and hooking up and clapping cheeks.
But
You
not
can't.
everybody's standards are not the same. We can't
No, but
all
the
be
thing
at that. I mean,
is
some
that you have
people's
to
have penis, some
understand
people's.
this is a collective planet. You're dealing with a collective of men and a collective of women. And a collective of women always complain about, and Mark has seen it, I've seen it, everybody sees it, how all these men are sending random pics and all these men always in my inbox talk about what you doing, but never making no plans. And my
Mhm.
whole thing is that clearly the WYD is WORKINGing sometimes. And yes, I said it twice. I know I misspelled it.
Sometimes.
Shut up.
Hey, well, you know what?
Um,
A broke
but
clock is right twice a day.
yes, but guess what?
So let me add on to
That
that real
clock.
quick,
Hold
Max.
on, let me just finish. I just
It's
want to say
still
one thing.
broke, but it's right twice a
Even
day.
even if it's broken, the fact of the matter is this clock don't need to be broken to be right because it's even right when it's for the little bit of work and it's doing. And that's the point that I'm trying to make. Go ahead,
Twice a
Mark.
day.
What you got to say here?
So what I was gonna say is one, right? These sisters
Hmm.
know exactly what they're doing when they post certain pictures or wear certain provocative clothing, or put or use certain keywords on their post when they're looking for attention. The only reason why they complain about it is because they're not getting the attention from the particular guy that they want. When you hit that,
Hmm.
that's because the guy with the dick pic that they like is in their inbox, so they're not gonna blow it up.
Hmm.
That's the first thing I'm gonna.
Hmm.
The second thing I'm gonna say is this, right? When it comes when it comes to these guys, right? And women letting men in, right? Women set the tone. Why is it we're at a time where women are more accessible to men? It's an all-time high because of social media. But just
Hmm.
from this perspective, right? Our grandmothers and great grandmothers set a tone. they dressed a certain way, they carried themselves a certain way, and it wasn't that easy for men to basically utter a couple of stupid words, and next thing you know they're hooking up. I understand we're in sexual liberation and all these different things are going on. I get that part, but a woman always sets the tone. If she say no and her legs is closed, ain't shit popping off.
Game
Period.
over.
I don't care what
Game
that
over.
say. You understand what I'm saying? So,
Right.
but what happens is that, like you said, we're not working together, a collective. Everyone has this selfish mentality. So every woman thinks that this sister say, "Hey, girl, that man's abusive. He did this to me. He beat the kids. He da 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 da." Oh well, I'm gonna fuck him anyway because that ain't gonna happen to me. Her pussy must not be. Everybody always think that it's I'm better than the other person's mentality. Or what ain't gonna happen to me until you see her ass 3 weeks
Can I
later.
interject?
Her face
Can
is
I
busted
interject
up.
one sentence?
What's that?
Can I just interject one sentence?
Sure.
Listen, y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, I want y'all all to listen to this. Just because your mama told you were special when you was a baby,
Mm-hmm.
and as you grew up, the world does not fucking care. You ain't that damn special. Stop thinking that you are, and realize that you likely are just one of many. You probably are,
Mm-hmm.
and your perspective will change. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, and that's everyone, and it's just it goes for the men too. You know, like, oh well, it ain't gonna happen to me. Listen,
Mm-hmm.
this man, if this person is a serial killer, they're going to kill you. Does that make you special? If this person is an abuser, they're going to abuse you. That's who they are, the nature of their course. So it doesn't make you special. And a lot of times we always think that, oh, it won't happen. Oh, girl, let me no. Or God, oh, yo, nah, bro, she ain't gonna no, because I'm a man. Nah, man.
Well,
It's
I'm gonna tell you like I used to tell my oldest daughter. She about to turn
Mm-hmm.
29. You are somebody else to somebody else. Everybody goes, "Oh, that's not going to happen to me. That'll happen to other people." You are other people to other
Mm-hmm.
people. Everybody is other people to other
mhm.
people.
We all somebody's other
Somebody
person.
else. Yeah, we all the other people to other people.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I just wanted just to chip in. Isaiah said something which is so true. And I have it on the screen so y'all can see it. I left it up there.
Can't see it
And
in
it
the
said
phone.
people are selective with who they let that shit slide with. Because one person will come in that inbox, say the creepy shit, but because, oh, he cute or I was kind of feeling him anyway, da 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 da, you let that shit slide.
Mm-hmm.
And because you let that shit slide, you just perpetuated that behavior to continue into the community. You
That's
have to
why I said
understand.
not everybody's standards is at the same bar. Like some people,
Hmm.
their tolerance for BS is a lot lower. I mean, a
Yes.
lot higher. They'll take it,
No,
you know,
I'm
Yeah.
because
going. I'm going.
people
Who though,
people
Carl?
don't like to all be by themselves all the time.
Yeah, I think it's hypocritical on anyone's behalf, Carnita, because here's the thing. I'm gonna complain about. Let's just get back to the example, right? Somebody sent me a particular pic. Maybe a woman just sent me a random whatever pic it is, right? I'm gonna complain about that particular woman because she maybe not aesthetically what I'm
Not
attracted to.
your type. Yeah.
Not
Not
Hmm.
your
yeah,
preference.
right. Let's say that not my type. But yet, if another
That was
sister
real politically correct.
pic, I won't complain about that though because she's more of my type. So I believe that I'm
Mhm.
being hypocritical if I'm going to complain about the action altogether because it's
Mhm.
against my moral standards. Then I won't accept any of it at all. So why am I conversing with this one and giving them all the feedback, but this other one I'm going to scorn and shun and shame and put the whole conversation up on the board so everyone can see? Because I see
Right.
that all the time too, which I think is very tasteless. You put
Mhm.
the whole conversation up there to shame this person, but you're not
Yep.
putting the picture of the person that you're actually entertaining. And it
Hmm.
goes both ways. You understand what I'm saying? So we got to,
Well,
Yeah.
that's because there's a fluctuating bar,
yeah,
Hmm.
and that bar fluctuates circumstantially based on who it is that we're
Attraction.
referring to, who it is that is approaching. So let's say they happen to like Mark, but they don't like me because I'm light skinned. They'll look at me and say, "Oh, he was up in there doing this and have my shit posted up on the fucking whatever, talking about whatever stupidness I might have been talking to them about." Meanwhile, Mark said the exact same thing as me because me and him are communicating in the background. And I
yeah,
said, "Watch this. Use the exact same words, the exact same thing." And because she into the darker brother, she gonna look and say, oh no, it's good, tee hee. Look at this, wee, and all this other stuff, and it's all fly and it's all good and it's all clean
Mm-hmm.
because the hypocrisy starts with the individual.
Mm-hmm.
Every individual is a hypocrite. We're all hypocrites. I'm a
Can
hypocrite.
be.
Mark's a hypocrite. Carnita's a hypocrite. We all
Can
hypocrites to a certain degree.
we
We all
can
do it.
be.
No, all of us have done it.
Yeah, we all
Can
have
be.
Can't be my
filters.
ass. We all have done it. Carnita, don't start with me. Thank you. We all
I
have done it. I own my shit. We all have been a hypocrite at one time or another. Even
Absolutely.
if we did it indirectly, we
yeah,
all were guilty of it. It might not
yeah,
have been with malice, but we all were guilty of it
yeah. I can
because
definitely get with that.
And it
that's
is.
just human nature.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, yeah. But
You
we got to
understand what I'm
realize
saying?
that the fluctuating bar is human nature too.
Yeah. But the thing is, then you have to come to terms with the fact that sometimes you just gonna get the WYD guy, and if you don't like it, you ain't gotta make a whole fucking post about, oh, I don't like
No,
the WYD, and da, 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 da. Just shut
you know
up
what?
and keep
I
scrolling.
I just ignore it. Like
Yeah. And
the
it, and
whole
it,
That's what
the
you
whole
gotta
purpose
do.
of chatting and talking is to talk. Is to talk. If that person doesn't know how to converse,
mhm.
then there's no conversation being had.
Yeah.
It's
Mm-hmm.
it's a done deal.
So here's my question, right?
Mm-hmm.
It all depends on who, what the conversation's about, right? This is what I'm
Uh-huh.
this and the mood as well too. Because you may just say Carnita, maybe on any given Sunday you might just ignore it.
Mm-hmm.
This particular Sunday you might have had a couple of sips on wine and you just in the estrogen jet levels at an all-time high. And then you just have to entertain it.
That no, I don't operate that way.
Oh
Max knows
Christ!
I
All
don't
right,
operate. Look,
automaton.
if I'm gonna ignore it, I'm gonna ignore it. Trust
Where's
Yeah.
me,
my
there's
lie
people
detector?
who are
Tell me,
still on ignore status right
tell
now.
me lies. Tell me sweet little lies. Come on, tell me some more.
And the lie
No,
detector determined that is a lie.
I'm not studying.
Carry on.
No, seriously, I got people who have been sending me WYD messages for 3, 4 years. I
Yeah.
still haven't responded. I don't even know why they do it anymore.
I mean, I think in some cases it's all subjective. It depends on the mood. Like you may be, I mean, I'm not saying you particularly individually, right? Because you
Right.
you got your SOPs, but you
Mhm.
have some women that you if you can, and that's why Max. This is to basically reinforce what Max was saying. Men don't try this shit unless the shit's worked at least once.
Working. Yeah. A broke
I
clock
guarantee
is right
you,
twice a day.
I guarantee you right now, if I send out 10 what you doing messages to 10 different women and I catch them at the right time,
Two of them will respond.
I'll probably get like 3, 4, maybe to respond.
Yeah.
You
Like I
understand?
said, a broke clock is right twice a day.
But it all
Law of
depends on
averages.
the individual. If you're a man that's well versed when it comes to communicating with women and you're not socially awkward and you can start up conversation and things of that nature, you may have a little higher success rate.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a weirdo, you might not get any to respond.
Huh. Well, yeah, that's always an issue. The thing is there's a whole lot of weirdos out here too. And the
And
thing
weirdos
is,
don't always
the
look like you think they would.
no,
Some
but
people are nice looking weirdos.
no, but that's the whole point. Is that the weirdo thing is more normal than the normal thing. Because there's a lot of people who you don't realize they weird until you talk to them for 5 minutes. It's kind of like that expression that says you never want to meet your heroes. Because when you meet a lot of them, like for those that are really into the celebrities and stuff like that, you got to understand a lot of creative people are really strange. I've been around a good amount of them, and I'll tell you, they got some really strange fucking habits and really strange things they do. Because when you got a certain level of success and money, it just makes you run out of ideas of dumb, crazy shit to do, and you start finding new shit to do that's
Hmm.
dumb and crazy. I think Arnita attest to some of that too, because she's around the creatives a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
You understand? So I don't know where you be at, Mark, but if you've seen it before, you probably know too. You understand what I'm saying? It's just one of those things that's just
It's like Enigma.
yeah. And the thing
Rapid
is,
and an
it's
anomaly.
really more normal than realized. So the thing is, whenever you approach anybody, you have to just approach, and this is where we was talking about earlier, when we circle back to the clean slate,
Yeah.
because a lot of people don't understand. This is something I wanted to say earlier. The power of words. Your words are powerful. So, like you said earlier, Carnita, if you keep saying that this is what you going to get, that's
That's what
all
you
you
gonna
going to
get.
get. It ain't going to change until you change the energy. If you look at physics, you don't even have to believe in God, you don't have to believe in nothing. Just look at the universe. When you do something, you put energy cannot be created or destroyed. It is simply transferred. So you're moving energy. You can convert it into different types of energy, but how you move the energy that's around you is based on how you're putting out and what you're emitting from yourself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And a lot of people have to understand that's where you have to really start from in here.
Mhm.
And this is where
Well,
we circle back to mental health.
I
You
will
got to
say
get
this.
this right.
As an English teacher, words are so powerful that the putting together of words is actually called spelling, which
That's
is the definition of spell casting. You are
mm-hmm.
casting spells with
That's
your
right.
words.
That's right. That is absolutely correct. That's why it's called spelling.
That's why it's called spelling.
I never looked at it like that,
That is
but I
the
can definitely see.
etymology of the word.
It is.
No, it's
Casting
literally the
spells.
definition. Yes.
Yes, literally
Yeah,
spelling, casting
yeah, it is.
spells.
It is. So how you put them together. You speak things into manifestation.
Yep.
Yes, you're creating the spell, whatever
Absolutely.
it
And
is.
that's the problem is that people don't understand that they're
Powerful.
creating their own universe of misery and torture.
You're creating whatever it is you keep thinking about. Where you focus that energy is where you will go.
And the thing is, sometimes you are going to face challenges. For those that complain, like the famous statement that comes out right now, the dating pool has pee in it. Well, it's called flush the fucking toilet, throw some cleaner in that bitch, and get a new batch of water and start over again. If you
But
keep
Create
cleaning it,
create a new
eventually,
spell, right? Create a new spell.
here's the thing,
yes.
though. I don't understand why people have so many issues when
What?
it comes to man and woman relationships. I've I've never had those issues.
Expectations are at an all-time high. Everybody
Yeah,
expects
Well, not even
something,
that. People
but they're not
don't
going to
really
it giving
no.
something.
People don't know themselves
That
to
too.
even begin to get to know somebody else.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm just saying I've
If you
never
don't know
had
yourself,
those issues. I've never had those issues. I don't get it.
me
Like
neither.
people make things so complicated. It's like
It's not
this.
hard.
Know what it is what you're about, what you want, create a plan how to get there, right?
Hmm.
Short term. And
Mhm.
eventually you get there. It's just that simple. And ignore all the bullshit distractions that come along the way. Eventually it's gonna weed itself out.
Well,
Hopefully.
I mean, I think a lot of people they put too much emphasis on their poor experiences relate with relationships.
Hmm.
Like to me, I mean, it's all what I call a learning situation. I've been married before. I'm divorced. I would never say anything about my husband, him being a terrible person, blah 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 blah. What I say is he's not a bad person. We just weren't a good couple. Like together, we didn't work.
And that's allowed.
Let it go.
And the thing is, sometimes you just need to come to terms with the fact that no matter how much you want to will it to work, you're just not compatible.
Yeah.
And
It
sometimes
happens.
apart as well too. You know, like they say, the seasons, like, so a relationships change, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were just speaking about the etymology of words, right? So it's a
Mm-hmm.
relation and it's a ship, right? How we relate in that
Hmm.
ship, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they change. Just think
It
about the
can. Yeah.
relationship. If you're a parent, think about the relationship with a child from the time that child was an infant through the toddler
Hmm.
stages, and as they grow to become preteens and teenagers, and the time they come into adults. You don't treat your 18-year-old the same in the same manner that you would treat your 7-year-old. The
Mm-hmm.
relationship change, and sometimes because relationships change, they tend to drift where they need to go to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People try to tend to hold on to certain things instead of letting
Right.
it just be what it's going to be.
Hmm.
And I've witnessed that with my own daughters. It's like you have to, your relationship with your children has to change because you're not going to parent a 3-year-old the same way you would parent a 30-year-old. You have to grow with that relationship, and people get stuck into, I'm the mom, I'm the father, and you're the kid, and it's like, I need you
Do
to
what I say.
grow with that. You're not growing. You're not growing. That's why their relationships, even with between parents and kids, can stagnate because
Hmm.
the parent doesn't want to grow.
That's right. I gotta add.
So,
I gotta give it to run. So I know you guys are still going to be on for a second. I just want to add to what you got to say real quick, sister, before I go.
Hmm.
In reference to growing, right? I love the fact that you say that because one of the biggest things for me, that's my prerequisite, right? That when I see people say it, it doesn't matter what type of relationship is going to be, platonic, business, or romantic. The minute I hear someone say, I am grown, I am out.
I have
And
grown.
yes, and the reason I say this is because,
Oh, as their excuse for doing or not doing something.
yes, can't tell
Hmm.
me shit, I'm grown. I'm a grown ass woman. I'm a grown ass man. I'm
And
grown.
you know what? That's the most toddler tantrum thing you could ever say.
It's also the most self-limiting things that you can ever say
Yes.
because life is a
What you're
perpetual
saying is,
state
I
of
don't want to
growth.
learn anything new.
Saying that I'm dead
Hmm.
mentally, I'm dead mentally. I refuse to continue to learn because when
Yes.
a fruit is grown, this is a fruit. It's no longer attached to the tree. It's dead. It's over. It's a wrap. I wanted to add that because I got to run, but it was a pleasure
All
conversing
right, man.
with you.
Yes,
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you as
Appreciate it,
well.
Carnita.
Yeah.
Now, just to touch on what he said, because we are running over an hour here, so we're gonna wrap this up soon anyway.
Okay.
I gotta be up early, early. Ugh.
Be up and
So
do it all
anyway,
again.
oh Lord. But anyway, the real key that I find when it comes to these relationships is that you have to realize whether or not you can grow and evolve with this person.
Right.
If you can only function with this person in the
Right.
microcosm of a universe that you exist in, but
Yeah.
you can't expand outside of what you exist in
Mm-hmm.
to truly come together, like the analogy was used, a ship
Mm-hmm.
that you're relating in,
Mm-hmm.
aka relationship. If
Mm-hmm.
you can't bring that together, then that is a ship that you need to abandon
Of course. It is.
because
I agree.
all that's going to happen is it might coast along the water and it's cool, but life is too short. You know, I've lost a few people, recently lost one of my family members, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And, just to touch on the whole mental trauma example,
Mm-hmm.
that's something that because I'm one of those men, as much as I've helped other people with their emotions and stuff, my emotions have been buried so deep
Mm-hmm.
that I don't even know how to access them when I'm supposed to.
Yeah, you need
You
to work on
understand what
that.
I'm saying?
You need to work on that, homie.
And I'm working on it, but I am working on it. But
That's
it's
good.
still a thing because I've always been so stoic and it's not like I'm even trying to put on a thing. It's literally sewn into me.
Yes, I know.
You understand what I'm saying?
Hmm. But
And
I
the
think
reason
as a
why,
man, you have to have a safe space to access and display. If you don't
Oh
have
no.
that, it's going to be hard to access.
Oh no, I have that.
Yeah.
But my point is, as I'm that work in progress, the reason why I mentioned myself as an example is
Hmm.
just that is me trying to evolve myself
Grow. Right.
so that I can be a better version of myself because the
Right.
work starts from within.
Hmm.
So for those that have these relationships and is rocking and reeling, is up and down, because relationships have their ups and downs, peaks and
Ebbs
valleys.
and flows. Yes. Hmm.
But the ultimate challenge is, are you growing in the same path? Or is it just as long as this functions in my universe, as long as this doesn't expand outside of my scope of what I like or
Or as
prefer?
long as I get what I need from you, that's all I
That
need.
part. But we all use each other, so that's why I say that, but then I don't say that at the same
Yeah, but
time.
if it's always one directional, it's got a hole in the ship.
Well, if it's always one directional and you ain't seeing that much, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
Because that's just you not even realizing your own worth, your own self worth.
Hmm.
Because you got to be. It's like back in the days where they would say, "Oh, you might go do this and that, but you at least got to give them enough of that get right so that they can still hold on to you." You
Hmm.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Schmooze you over.
Yeah. A lot
Put
of
it
people
put
don't.
put a put a band-aid on a broken arm.
A lot of people don't understand that relationships are like a plant. You have to feed them and nurture them so that they can grow into a big tree.
Hmm.
If you all you do is take and you're not putting anything into it,
Hmm.
your relationship's gonna wither and die. It might wither and die fast or it might die slow, but eventually your shit gonna die.
Yeah, I agree.
And nobody wants to be in that situation.
Right. Right.
As far as this battle of the sexes thing goes, because I'm gonna throw this to Carnita before we get the
Uh-oh.
f out of here. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we are different. We are
We're
meant to be
supposed to be.
different.
Yeah.
Understand that on this planet, we all need each other. There's something I didn't get to touch on. I wanted Mark here when we was talking about it, but it's
Hmm.
about the advent of the independent woman and how she's destroying the mentality of the independent woman is destroying society in a lot of ways
Yeah.
because claiming your independence is a fallacy because there's no such thing. If I took you and I threw you on a stranded island with no people to talk to, you would go fucking nuts.
I
And it
would.
wouldn't
Yeah.
even take
Most
you
people
that
would.
long. A lot of people say that if you throw their ass there and there's nobody else around, if the world just left you behind, it was just you by yourself,
On the
you
beach?
would
Nah,
go
I'm good.
crazy eventually. So the reason why I'm saying all that is we are in this shit together, for better or for worse. Let's
That's a
try to do the
marriage.
best to put our best foot forward towards each other because if we want change and we want things to be different, we have to be willing to be the change that we want. We can't all
Hmm.
complain about it and nobody do anything to fix it. All
Right.
the purpose of this conversation was not to scream in the air. That's why I didn't do a lot of. I always said men and women because we both in this shit and we both
Yeah.
got flaws in this shit.
I agree. We do.
I bet you do. But the whole point of it is we have to stick together and we have to work this out, especially us black people, and I'm talking about the black people because we're the most displaced people, the most culturally whitewashed people on this planet.
Hmm.
Even the Native Americans are almost wiped out of existence, have more connection to their original culture than we do.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say this is we don't work together. We're always oh, you put somebody down because they might be working hard, but they not making 120,000 a year. So, oh, he ain't got no money. He broke. He ain't shit. But he's going out to work every day and he's trying.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to stop judging each other by European standards of success, European standards of beauty, European culture, period. We have to
100%.
we have to
You have
stop
to start basing it on. You have a right
character
to
for
be
one.
attracted to who you want. We're not
Hmm.
telling you don't like who you want, right, Conita?
Preferences. Yeah.
You have a right to your preference.
Hmm.
The key thing is don't bring each other down. Social media does a great job of creating enough insecurities in people to last 5 lifetimes.
Yeah.
Don't perpetuate it by either getting in your own head or putting down the next person. If you don't
Right.
like that person, that's fine. Keep it to yourself. Keep it moving.
Move along. Yeah, I agree.
You don't have to bring somebody down in order to
Hmm.
build yourself up. Only weak people do that.
Yeah, I was going to say, and anybody who does that, it's because of something in them that they don't like.
Hmm. Often that is the case.
Always, that is the
I never like to use absolutes, but you're right. I'm just saying.
case. Yes,
But
because
anyway,
hate
go
inside
ahead.
begets hate. You have to
Hmm.
first love yourself. You can't give to somebody else something that you don't own. I can't. You
Hmm.
have to possess it to give it away. And if you don't, you can't. It's just not gonna. It's disingenuous. It's never gonna come across as what you think it is.
Now I gotta thank Carnita for popping up last minute because, like I said, me and Mark wanted to do this topic, and we needed a female perspective because I just don't feel it's fair to talk about women, but so much, and not at least give them some representation. Because often it's because when you don't have that representation, it sounds like a browbeating, and then people aren't really listening. It's just men saying, "Oh, I don't like this about women. I
The
don't like that." No.
same old rhetoric is what we always hear. Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I thought I was going to come on here and start cooking because I had
I'm
a
glad
lot
you
to say.
didn't.
No, but I didn't because of you and the way that you articulated certain things on the female side and perspectives that Mark gave. It made me look and say, you know what? It's not that deep. It doesn't need to be harsh. Because if I want things to change, I need to lead by example.
Right.
So I'm not going to come on here and beat y'all down. Lord knows I have the vocabulary and the vigor to do
And
it.
the attitude.
Oh, yeah, because I'm an asshole.
I know.
But at the end of the day, it's about these conversations, this whole social experiment thing, this
Yeah.
whole podcast thing. And I know we've been gone for a while, but I'm gonna be back on here. Hopefully, my co-host will feel better and she'll be able to participate because I know she has a whole lot to say on this stuff too.
Right.
And Carnita, you're welcome back. I'll try to give you a better heads up next time, but
Thank you. 5 minutes is a little short.
a little short. But she was a great sport for doing. You know what I'm saying?
Well, thank you. Thank you.
But people, I appreciate y'all for coming on here. Carnita, you got any final words before we land this plane?
I think the only thing I really kind of try to reiterate a lot is to be what it is that you seek. And if you're if you're getting the same thing, you might have to look at what spells you're casting to get that. Just words and actions, you know.
And for those that are
Speak
sensitive
volumes.
to talking about spells, understand it's the power of manifesting. It's the
Words.
power of just like when you pray, you're speaking out that which you want to happen in a positive light.
Manifestation. Yeah, it's the same.
So change what you're manifesting, and you will start to see a change. It's not magic, so it's not gonna happen overnight. Still got to do the work.
True. We gotta do the
And
work.
this goes for ladies and gentlemen. Do the work. If you need help,
Definitely.
my inbox is open. I do console people.
I do too.
Or if you don't want to speak to any of us, go find somebody
Somebody.
and go do the work. I'm doing the work currently myself. Excuse me. I'm
Mhm.
doing the work currently myself. So I'm leading by example.
Good.
So I expect y'all to do that too because all of us, almost everybody here has some kind of trauma, some kind of issue that they need to resolve that can make them a better version of themselves.
Right.
So do that work and we will see y'all on the next one. We're probably going to do a part two to this because there's a lot more to dig into.
Hmm.
But until then, I'll holler at y'all. Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Peace.
Peace.